Well, Vice President Sara Duterte willing to reveal the alleged political handler of her critics at the proper time. This as she asserts there is only one figure behind House lawmaker Franz Castro, Senator Rizzo Ontiveros, and former Senator Antonio Trillanes, who last week said he had documented 22 possible articles of impeachment against the Vice President. Joining us now, former Senator Antonio Trillanes. Mr. Trillanes, good afternoon to you. Thanks for joining us today.
Good afternoon, Ms. Carmina.
All right, first off, Trillanes and the Makabayan bloc, what are the ties that bind you? Are there really any ties that bind you to the Makabayan bloc?
Nothing. There's nothing that binds us. In fact, during the last elections, the Makabayan bloc campaigned against me when I ran for the Senate in 2022.
And then the ties that bind you to Senator Rizzo Ontiveros. Let's go to that first, because you were also criticized, which we're going to talk about later on, but you were also criticized for sort of criticizing former VP Leni Robredo only to prop up Senator Rizzo Ontiveros. How do you explain your relationship with Senator Rizzo Ontiveros and the support that she is getting from you, Senator?
Our group, the Dalo group, is in alliance with Senator Rizzo Ontiveros and the Akbayan party. So we are part of the independent opposition, of which Senator Rizzo is the leader.
And so we go now to the allegation of Vice President Sara Duterte that there is one handler that is sort of, I don't know, is it manipulating you or handling you, the Makabayan bloc and Senator Rizzo Ontiveros? Is there such a thing, Senator Trillanes?
No, there's no such thing. And Vice President Sara Duterte is just bluffing. She's used to doing or saying these things. But she doesn't have anything. Okay, I dare her to show anything that she has. But believe me, within the next week or two, she won't be able to show anything. It's just like the Polvoron videos that they've been teasing the whole country that they would be showing, and in the end, they just came up with an AI video. So it's a bluff, and I'm calling that bluff. I dare you to show that. Because the people like Sara Duterte cannot stop themselves from blurting out what they have. So if they have anything, then they would have shown it. So she's definitely just like her father.
What would be the motivation behind that bluff, as you call it, Senator Trillanes?
It's a misdirection. Probably it's an appeal to pity. And she's just trying to sway the public that there is some form of conspiracy against her. No, there's no conspiracy. She's just a crook. She's a criminal, just like her dad, and she's unfit to hold the position of vice president, and therefore she deserves to be impeached. That's all there is.
Exactly. The next question, Senator Trillanes, you said last week that you have already documented 22 possible articles of impeachment against the vice president. She's also saying that's going to be the next move in this narrative, which only aims to topple her. That's her allegation. And do you think that's really where it's going to go, that there is going to be an impeachment case filed against the vice president?
That's the direction, and she can't pretend or say that she uncovered something, because I've been all over the news telling people that she's bound to be impeached. There's no conspiracy or diabolical plot behind this. Just what it is. She committed crimes, and therefore she will be impeached. And by the way, because of what happened yesterday, the revelation of this Undersecretary of the Department of Education, it's not 22 anymore, it's 23 articles of impeachment.
Senator Trillanes, I'm sure you've been monitoring what has been happening. Since day one, you have been very vocal in speaking out against the Dutertes. What do you think about what's happening now that all of a sudden there are members of Congress who are all of a sudden finding their voices and all of a sudden being brave and speaking out against the former president? What do you make of this, Senator?
Well, obviously that was brought about by the split between the Marcos and Duterte alliance. And that's why the congressmen, of course, traditionally, they put the line of Malacanang. So they sided with the president and Speaker Romualdez. Now, as to other motivations, I wouldn't know. Probably it's just self-realizations. When they started these squad committee hearings, all of these facts about the crimes committed by the Duterte family started coming out. And it would really take a very politically insensitive person not to feel anger towards the Duterte family. So if you haven't felt that yet, probably you are a Duterte follower or fanatic, or you consider them a political ally of some sort.
Is that something that sort of gives you pause, Senator Trillanes, that you were there from day one and then all of a sudden here they come, only because, as you pointed out, there was a split to begin with, and then came, if it's even true, the self-realization after? I mean, shouldn't they have felt the anger or the self-realization that they have now? Shouldn't they have done this previously, 6, 8 years ago, maybe 9 years ago?
Probably they should have felt that, but there are different thresholds of morality or realization among people. But also there is this climate of fear during the Duterte administration. Even if you feel that Duterte is a murderous tyrant, but you can't say or do anything about it. Because Duterte made sure that he would punish those who would stand up against him. So that's a major factor, because I've been talking to a lot of these congressmen and senators even during the Duterte administration, and that's how most of them felt, even those close allies of Duterte.
Pero hindi ba...
Yes.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, Senator Trillanes, pero hindi po ba dapat na ang tama ay tama, ang mali ay mali, despite the administration in power?
Ganun po ang aking ang pananaw, kasi lahat naman tayo pinalaki ng ganun, ano? Pero ibang-iba po ang levels ng tolerance, iba't iba yung levels ng courage to speak truth to power. Kumbaga, may ganun po, may mga political considerations yung iba. And it's sad. In a perfect world, dapat tinitindigan ito. But sadly, it is what it is dito po sa ating bansa.
Talking about political considerations and the political reality, you've taken some heat for what you've said about Vice President Leni Robredo meeting, or the former Vice President meeting with the incumbent Sara Duterte in Naga recently, while propping up Senator Rizzo Ontiveros. People were really sensitive about that. What gives? Why did you have to do that, Senator Trillanes?
Why did I have to do that?
Why did you have to speak out? Why did you have to point it out?
I'm sorry, I lost the question somewhere.
Yeah, you've taken some heat about what you said when you criticized the former vice president when she met with Vice President Sara Duterte in Naga City. Now, some are just in a quandary. Some are just really questioning. Why did you have to speak about it? What's the motivation by criticizing the former vice president while propping up Senator Rizzo Ontiveros?
Well, ganito po, no? Kailangan natin, the lines have been drawn. Itong independent opposition, which is led by Senator Rizzo Ontiveros, is in the process of grilling Vice President Sara Duterte for her misuse of public funds. And as I mentioned, we are determined to have her impeached. Then here comes this visit, which was unnecessary. And despite all the alibis about she didn't have any choice, and that it was during Peña Francia, etc., I believe she could have said no, as she should. So I merely called her out to say na huwag naman natin isanitize yung image ni Sara Duterte kasi alam naman natin si VP Leni remains a symbolic figure of the pink movement. So by accommodating her at her home, having a 1-hour conversation, that image, that optics would say Sara Duterte is okay. She is somebody that you can have your picture with and you can mingle with. No, it is not okay. I'm just calling her out for that. Ngayon, itong mga the overprotective followers of VP Leni just swarmed at me for that. And yun lang. And sinasabi ko, hindi naman infallible si VP Leni. Huwag natin gawing Diyos na hindi pwedeng i-call out. No? Hindi blasphemous yung pagiging pagko-call out sa kanya. Kasi mali po yun. Kasi nakikita po natin, yung mga nangyayari ngayon, I equate Sara Duterte right now as controversial as people like Harry Roque, Kibuloy, and Alice Guo. Now, would you imagine how people would react kung magkaroon ng visit si Kibuloy kay VP Leni at this point? Di ba? Ano sasabihin nila? Hindi, she's just being gracious. No, I disagree with that because I know VP Leni and she draws the line against her political enemies. I don't see her accommodating people like the Villafuertes, who are her known political enemies in Naga, in Bicol, and even the Marcoses. Matindi galit niya sa mga Marcoses. Hindi niya yan i-accommodate sa bahay niya. Di ba? As well as these controversial figures that I mentioned.
Just as a final...
She draws a line. So, ibig sabihin, the fact that she accommodated her, ibig sabihin, she considers her not a political enemy. And that's a problem.
Another problem here, as a final question, Senator Trillanes, is that there is this concern now that because you have been, you said those statements and you just, sort of analyze things in this show now as to where the former vice president should stand. The concern here now is you may just be dividing the opposition. What's your take on that?
No, there's no division anymore because it was very clear that VP Leni passed the baton of leadership to Senator Risa Hontiveros. That was already established. Nobody's arguing that. She decided to run for mayor in Naga City. She basically turned her back on national politics. So there's no division. Everybody should aligning themselves behind Senator Risa Hontiveros and nobody else. So I don't see where this division is coming from, unless there is this underlying plot that she plans to run for national office later on, and that would be some scheme that she needs to do.
All right, we're going to have to leave it at that. Interesting insights. They're right there from former Senator Antonio Trillanes. Thanks again for taking our call. Take care.
Salamat po.